Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Eric Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes coming straight from the Berg. She is Shay Hickson. Shay, what's going on, my friend?
Nothing much, nothing much. Just enjoying this lovely up and down weather we're having over here where
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
one minute it's 50s, 60s, the next it's gonna be like 21 degrees on like Thursday or Friday. So you know what? I'm just trying not to freeze, but
Yeah,
I'll take it over heat any day though, so I'll
you're
deal
not
with
a
it.
yeah, you're not a heat person.
Not at all. I know that apparently that's according to some people a very minority opinion, but no. I overheat too easily. I'd rather not die of a heat stroke. Cold is my thing. I get my flannels and beanies out and I'm
Gotcha.
perfectly fine.
Gotcha, definitely. I feel you. Well, welcome in everybody. Get cozy if you're on the East Coast and it's kind of chilly. I mean, it is the beginning of December. We're in the holiday season. Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. It's a podcast about professional wrestling where Shay and I answer your questions about what's going on in the world of WWE, AEW, and every other wrestling promotion on the planet, so long as you want to talk about it. And we have a bunch of questions tonight that range from a whole big board of topics when it comes to professional wrestling. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I am too. Let's just dive right in here.
All
So
right, let's do it.
let me just pull up the first thing that shows up on Twitter, which would be mom's questions. And obviously wanting to annoy me with the very first question. Why won't WWE give Zelina Vega the push she deserves? I was so fucking bummed when she lost that match, dude. I was really hoping it was going to be her and Dakota in the finals, but
Yeah,
god damn it. I mean, not that Lyra's not deserving. She's great, but
right.
god damn it, I wanted Zelina to win. Like, oh, that made me mad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I talked about it last night while watching Raw. The thing is, what it is that the entire WWE product is so on fire right now and so popular and so multi-layered with different superstars that people can get into and invest in, that it is going to be hard to kind of move the chess pieces so that everyone gets a fair shot on TV. The only thing I could say as a fan would be like, just kind of sit and wait, because your time will come. It really feels like this era of WWE, and with Triple H in charge of the creative, he really does try to keep introducing different things and different people and giving everybody a fair shot to kind of sink or swim on TV and make a name for themselves. We all know how good Zelina Vega is and how convincing she is as a character too. It's just a matter of like, everybody's on fire right now, whether it's Jaden, Bianca, Naomi, Meechin, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, Candice LeRae is getting
Yeah.
more TV time, and Lyra Valkyria, I mean, she's just wonderful. She's like the complete package. She is very, very solid in the ring. And, the more TV time she gets, the more popular she'll become with the fans that mainly just watch the main roster, which means that's revenue for WWE. So they're very smart in what they're doing. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, yes, they want to get the win. Zelina Vega probably wants to win because that means she gets a guaranteed spot on, another program to show what she can do. But as far as wins and losses, I don't think she cares. It's just more about TV time. But again, I'm sure she's just happy to get out there and show what she could do, because it was a very good match.
Yeah, it was a good match. It's just I think it's kind of a shame because I mean, if you see on Twitter too, there was at one point, what was it, almost 2 months straight that
Yeah,
people were trending for her to get a push, so it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's a little I don't want to say disheartening, but just disappointing, I guess, where
right,
it's like you see that and it's like, okay, that has to mean something.
right, yeah.
And
I
then you can't even get her one match. I mean, it's like I get that she was clearly never going to make it to the finals, but damn, could you have at least given her a single like win in that tournament? Give some people, I guess, hope because I
Right,
feel
right.
like it would have been. less frustrating if she wasn't like
Right.
first round out, as opposed to like maybe could have been ousted in the next round. Who knows? But it's just
Right,
like,
and that's why I kind of I favor round robin tournaments more than one and done tournaments,
yeah.
because with round robin tournaments, you can, like, Zelina Vega could take the L, and then creative in the front office can kinda gauge that reaction, and
Hmm.
then they'd be like, "Oh, okay, we made a mistake, let's pivot,"
Yeah.
and, maybe she can come out on top of this. With these one and done tournaments, it's really hard to tell a story, and like with the round robin, you can build a story where people can get really invested into somebody you didn't expect, and that could have
Yeah.
been Selena Vega.
Yeah, unfortunately. So my finals prediction's already shot, but you know what? At least Dakota still has a chance.
Yeah, and she's getting more and more popular by the week. I mean, that is the story, I guess, in this is that, like, the surprising kind of dark horse is that, like, they did the vignette for Dakota. It was a hit. She was in the tournament. She
Hmm.
got the win, and then she kept advancing. And now last night on Raw, because we're recording on Tuesday evening, last night on Raw when she came out, it was she got a really really good reception, and you could tell it kind of like energized her a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely did, and it's just nice to finally see people coming around to what I've been saying for years now at this point. So,
Yeah, again,
welcome
it's
aboard, guys. Like,
yeah, it's the hot product and limited TV time to kind of get
yeah,
everything in there. It's very, very tough. So you're gonna see an alternating door of, like, we'll cycle in people, and then eventually maybe like somebody from the Pure Fusion Collective, whatever that means, is
it's,
gonna is gonna they're gonna get more popularity and more TV time, and then they'll cycle in somebody else, and it's gonna be a revolving door of, let's see what we have here with the pieces that we have.
yeah, it's a good problem to have, as we always
Yeah, it
say, to have
definitely
such a
is.
stacked roster.
Yep.
It's a double-edged sword where it's like you have such a stacked roster that you may think somebody deserves an opportunity or has earned an opportunity, but the timing's just not right, which
Correct.
we'll get to that a little bit later on. I think Mike had a question that's a good pivot on that one, but um yeah, so I'm a little sad that Zelina is out already. However, I'm excited Dakota's still in it. Fingers
Mhm.
crossed that she goes all the way, because if not, we're not going to talk about that. But anyway, going to move on to the next question or comment. Mana is very disappointed in the New Day and how they've been
Oof.
acting.
Ooh.
That I don't. I mean, we kind of talked about it last week, but
Right.
that segment last week was just so uncomfortable. It was just like, ugh. And this week wasn't much better, but it was just like, oh, I want to punch you both in the face. It was just
Yeah.
like, ugh. And they
Uh,
got that heat. That heat was
they
scorching hot for good
they got
reason.
that would have got a golf clap from Dirty Dom, that's for sure,
Yeah.
because they couldn't get anything in. The crowd
No.
was so, and it was a real genuine uh dislike and disinterest in the
Yes.
New Day. It wasn't fake. It wasn't even over exaggerated. It
Oh no.
was it was spot on what they deserved.
It
And the
was, if you could get them to if they could jump the railing to get it, then they would, but
Probably, it was a miracle there weren't, like, bits of trash
yes.
being thrown in the ring in full on anarchy, because that's how crazy it was if you did not see the segment. It was There was a lot of hate behind it, and it was well
Yes.
deserved. And then, like, the whole night for the New Day was awkward. They were getting sort of the cold
Shamed.
shoulder. Yeah, they were getting shamed by their peers who they thought they were cool, which is kind of so delusional that they
Yeah, yeah.
thought that you could behave that way and then go backstage and everybody was going to be all hunky dory with them, and it's like, really? And then finally, the, like, kind of like the cherry on top was Cody Rhodes
Mhm.
making an appearance and then giving them an admonishment like a disappointed dad. You
Yeah.
know, that's what it was. It was a disappointed dad speech, and it was hilarious because there is some history dating back all the way to high school between Xavier and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
So, like, Xavier was able to play off of that, which was fantastic, and it adds another layer where we can probably take Xavier more serious, and it's
Mhm.
just But again, the whole thing, and it speaks to how beloved Big E is as a person, that he is more than just a character that you see on TV, that this happened to him, and we're all just like, we're ready to go to war, you know?
Ready to fist fight them, like,
We would really go after Kofi and Xavier with like a whole mob mentality, pitchforks, and it's just um and honestly, it's crazy because the way it was put together was, you either expected Kofi to turn on Xavier or Xavier to turn on Kofi, one or the
yeah.
other. You didn't expect them to do this kind of thing where they turned it into a question mark, where they align together and then turn on someone who didn't even have anything to do with their issues. Like, what is this animosity
Yeah.
towards Big E? He has nothing to do with the fact that you and Kofi were beefing with each other. So, like, this is some bottled up rage sort of deal where, like, Kofi and Xavier need to seek out professional help.
Yeah, literally, though, it
Yeah.
was Triple H turning everything on his head
Yeah,
and
it's like they
being, "Oh, you thought it was this? That's
yeah,
cute."
yeah, they operate on a completely different level when it comes to this whole, let's do some logical booking. And again, it's what I've been saying from the get-go. It's the reason it's so popular now, and the storytelling is so popular, is because we can see a little bit of relatability in these larger than life characters that are on TV.
Yeah.
We see a human being in Big E that we want to defend against evil wrongdoers and bad faith people. And when that happened to Big E, we all went up in arms and wanted to defend him. That's real life stuff, and that's why WWE is popular again.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I did going back on what you said about the whole backstage thing, I think that adds even more ire of the fans where they're like, "You have a lot of nerve acting like everything's perfectly
Right.
okay when it wasn't." It's just like it's just those layers of just, oh, disdain and layers of just hatred towards these guys now, which means they're doing their job,
Yeah.
because if they had no reaction, then you'd be a little worried. But yeah, just the fact that it's like, and then you have Meechin and her sister going on and Twitter
Oh
about
my
it too. Like,
god, that was
oh,
nuts.
I'm like, this is how you fully just lean into it, where
Yo,
you just,
we need Meechin's sister on TV
yeah,
stat. Like
just slap one of them
now,
in the
like
face. Like,
she is such a ride or die.
yes,
Like, I even said it on Twitter. I was like, "Yo, if they ever clone, like, a Yim sister,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
sign me up. Like, I'll go on a dating show. I
yeah,
don't care." Because
literally.
that's the kind of woman you need in your corner. Because she was like, full on suit armor, like, "I'm gonna stand up for my man
Mhm.
and beat the dog shit out of you on this Twitter machine," which she absolutely destroyed Kofi and
Oh,
Xavier
yes. Oh, yeah.
via text, via text.
It was
Like, they
great.
no chance. Like, I feel like she had these things bottled up within her way before this situation happened, and then it happened, and she was like, "Alright, got my ammo, boom, boom, boom," and she just
Yeah.
lit them up. But I desperately need a woman like that in my life that will just go get him, go
Yeah.
get him.
You and me both, dude. You and me both,
Yeah,
but maybe
we're down
someday.
bad, we're down bad.
Really, though, maybe someday,
Someday, someday.
someday. So then you go from that kind of question or comment to, this is a very loaded question, I feel like. What does AEW need to do to turn around the current level of apathy towards
Ooh,
their product? Um,
apathy.
well, and it's funny because um I feel like they need to get rid of some of their bad habits, which I feel like that's the easy question, but then like diving into it more, I feel like their biggest problem is they need to stop rushing into things just for the sake of ratings or for the sake of hype or
Mhm.
for the sake of whatever. I think that is their biggest problem, is they are so just like, we got to do this right now. We got to do this right now. This is like, we don't need any build up. We just got to do it because people are going to love it. It's like, yes, but sometimes the best part about it is the buildup. Of course, as in Tony and Mariah, like that's your biggest example right now. It was like this is
Mhm.
what you need to sell a story, to sell a match, to sell just months worth of just storyline built into one like title match. And I think sometimes they do it, but more often than not, they're like, well, this is great on paper, so we're just gonna throw this right at Dynamite or whatever, and we're just gonna see if it sticks because we need to pop a rating. That's not gonna
Mhm.
sustain anything because I because funny enough, we were at the local like Comic Con this weekend, and we were at this one artist stand, and funny enough, I have one of his pieces on my wall right now. It's a hand drawn picture of Malachi, and it's his old like antlers with the skull mask.
Sick.
And so we saw him, and of course I recognized his art because he still has prints of the original that I have, and we were talking, and he was talking about some of the stuff he was planning on doing. And funny enough, he had a Mariah May shirt on, so my girlfriend. And so, of course, we were like talking about it, and we both agreed. We're just like, I don't understand why Tony does this all the time, where it's, oh, well, Mariah and Mina, this is going to be such a great match. We're just going to throw it onto the like winners coming in 2 weeks. And it is so annoying because you could have easily built that up to World's End. I don't know why this is being, I don't want to say wasted, but I guess we might as well just say it, wasted on a
Mm.
Dynamite. That match could easily be on a pay per view. And I just don't understand it's just the constant whiplash of you'll have these hits like Tony and Mariah's story, and then you turn right around, and instead of trying to, I'm obviously not going to say replicate it because it's very hard to replicate a story of that like magnitude and that length of time, but if you want to make it meaningful, why did you have it happen on a random ass segment on a pay-per-view? You set it up, which is like we've talked about it. We weren't a fan of it. It could have been done so much better. But okay, you misstep on the beginning, but you can at least, fix it as you're going along. But then it's
Right.
just, okay, yeah, no, it's going to be in a few weeks.
Right.
Is you can't build a story like that in a few weeks, and you could have gotten such a good story out of Mariah and Mina, and the story itself's not bad. It's just this funny because we talked about it earlier. It's almost like Mariah's in this like gaslighting kind of, I don't know, personality or whatever right now, where it's like, well, I
Right.
still love you, Mina. Like it's not that big of a deal. It's not really as bad as you think it is. And if you watch her close up with Renee Paquette, I got to see some of it because again I sent it to you,
Right.
and you kind of I don't know how to say it without sounding like ridiculous, but it's like you can kind of see where Mariah's coming from, but at the same time, God, you have done it in the worst morally corrupt way possible, where you could see where she's coming from of like, I want to bring out the best in people because I want that fight. I don't want to
Right.
like, I want to prove that I'm the best in a way, or like, I brought out the best in Tony. I brought out the best in Willow. I did this to bring out the best in Mariah because she feels, I'm assuming she just didn't think Mariah was going to be, or Mina was going to be focused enough when the match came. And it's like, Mariah, see what you're trying to do, but oh god, you went about it the worst possible way. And she's just so like, I guess delusional would be the word, where it's like, well, we'll be fine after this. Like, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like they care about me when I go home at night. And it's the whole, do anybody at these stupid little like office jobs that you have go home and you care about like Craig from finance? Like, fuck Craig from finance. I'm like, you know what? That's fair, but
Again, it's the gaslighting.
yeah.
It's the she her words, she constructs them in a way where you're like, "Okay, fair, but," like,
But
like,
not
you know, the
right.
yeah, there's always that "but," and, like,
Yeah.
to your original point, that's the problem where they kind of, instead of mapping these things out so they can stretch it out over weeks and months at a time to not rush to a pay-per-view, they kind of just throw things at a wall and see what sticks, and
Yeah.
then go with that. They need a plan when it comes to
Mhm.
these storylines to kind of, all right, how do we maximize, how do we milk this cow for everything it's worth?
Yeah.
Because by throwing it on the B pay-per-view show on TV thing, it may do numbers, it may just stay the same. It's gonna
Yeah.
stay the same the next week. Like, it's not sustainable. It's not something you're gonna see a big jump for. Um,
Yeah. No,
but
I
it's just
agree.
like I agree with you what you're saying. Like, they could have easily put this on pay-per-view and it would have been great, but again, it that requires them to actually put some effort
Mhm.
into doing things creatively. Like, Tony Khan has this thing, and then this is where that apathy comes in, where he believes that simply putting these matches together is what's gonna do it, and it's what wrestling fans need. And it's like, you can still put these matches together. Nobody's stopping you, and
Yeah.
nobody's saying don't put these matches together. But do you understand that if you were to actually work out a way to make them creatively interesting,
Mhm.
and ways that people will be like, yeah, I want to actually tune into that, aka I'd buy a ticket to see that, just that, not just that it's a fight. Like, there's glimpses of it with, like, let's say, like the Kyle Fletcher Will Ospreay story, where you see,
Yeah.
like, okay, you see that there is some logical, relatable beef there that's telling the story. Something that they could have done with Mina and Mariah, because again, they're so close. This is like a thing where they could have stretched it out, where like Mariah keeps gaslighting Mina, and
Yeah.
like one week Mina's falling for it, one week Mina thinks there's something going on, and then you stretch that out for weeks, and then finally Mina snaps. And again, the biggest mistake was that stupid champagne celebration. That
Yeah.
thing was so poorly executed. It would have been a bigger deal if Mariah would have got the attack, because the whole point was to get the heat on Mariah for turning on her best friend out of greed. Like, it's almost like the title is like that Green Goblin mask talking
Yeah.
to Norman Osborn. It's like that's exactly what the title is doing to Mariah. But yet, for some reason, where the genius logical thing was to get the sympathy on Mina, because Mina is the innocent one who just wants to entertain people and be here and wrestle and also be close to her best friend. You get the sympathy on her. It's not her
Yeah.
time to be the hero yet. And it's just, again, these are the things that it's like, who is guiding the logic here? Who is
Mm.
who's going over these storylines and saying, okay, here's a plot hole, we need to fix this, because it's just like, again, it just seems like they're just throwing shit at a wall and seeing whatever sticks.
Yeah, literally. And I can only I don't want to say I can understand it, but it's
Mhm.
like I get the whole, oh well, we had to make sure Mina was like smart enough to like know that Mariah would do this, and I knew that if she could do it to somebody like Tony, she could do it to somebody like me. You could have literally spun that the opposite way, where it's like she gets attacked. You could have had more sympathy for Mina, where she would have been
Right.
like, I get that she's changed since she won this title or since she went after this title, but I hoped our friendship and whatever
Exactly.
would have was stronger than that, that it couldn't have happened to me.
Exactly.
Granted, it could have made her look a little more naive, but you still get more sympathy where it's just like, okay, well, she couldn't possibly do that to Mina because that's her best friend or whatever. So it's
Right.
like it made more sense other than just, well, I saw it coming and I just can't believe that she did this to me and that's it. And it's just like, okay, well great, you're smart, but how am I supposed to like sympathize with you? You're smart. You did what you should have done, but that doesn't help the story. And
Not only that, but like human emotion, human
yeah.
relatability, not everybody has the wherewithal to be that present of mind. Like you
Yeah.
said, like, we wouldn't Mina wouldn't expect that because she would think that their friendship and their bond
Yeah,
would be stronger than the influence of this title, just
the
like you
rose-colored
said.
glasses.
Exactly. Trust me, we all know what that's like.
Yes.
So it's like that is the more human relatable aspect again that WWE, unfortunately I have to mention it, but WWE is seemingly tapping into this, and for some reason Tony Khan puts that second to I want to do these dream matches for the sickos, and sickos aren't helping you, buddy. Like
No,
that all in ticket sale thing, press conference,
whatever.
whatever that was. That was sad. That
Yeah,
was that was
yeah,
kind of it kind of gave me the ick. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie. It gave me the ick.
yeah.
It was just like, ooh, oh no.
It's like, "Oh, Tony, you're not trying hard enough." It's
I don't know if
just
it's this is not
too hard.
trying. It's just he's way out of his depth.
Yeah, and he
He
doesn't see it.
he doesn't like the shows at this Galaxy Con thing that they doing. Those were kind of cool because again,
Yeah,
if they're in this small intimate settings, they come off really really well. It's
yeah,
the same thing that the esports arena thing that they did over the summer was great because it was in these small intimate arenas that you could really feel like whoever was there, whether they were a fan or a plant, like they were energetic and you could see that. It's not just a black shadow in the background.
yeah,
It's just he's way out of his depth, and I get it. I get it because like when we create these projects from the ground up, we go into it with a lot of gumption, a lot of gun ho when we
yeah,
want to build it up to be this grand thing, and we have these delusions of grandeur for the future,
yeah,
and it's going to be a big thing, and then we start to get into the work of it, and we have to put in the
yeah,
effort and the hustle of it, and we're like, damn, this shit is hard. So
yeah,
it's like, yeah, the delusion of grandeur is let's have this big festival party setting for all in Texas, and you're like, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be fantastic, the people are gonna love it, it's gonna be amazing, the internet's gonna talk about it forever, and then it
yeah,
happens, and it looks like a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party.
yeah,
It's just like,
yeah,
it's just like, ah, it hurts, but we've all been there.
yeah. It's. I think the biggest thing is going back to what you said earlier, where it's like you cannot rest on the laurels of, well, this is a dream match, so everyone's going to pay attention. It's like, great, they're going to pay attention this time.
Right.
And then they might not give a shit again because it's like, okay, well, you're not going to continuously have this match over and over and over again. So it's just like you go back to the well one too many times of, well, this is a dream match, people are going to love this, and it's like, yeah, they do one time, and that's
Right.
it.
But my thing is like if you're gonna give us the dream match, give us a story behind it.
You give us a reason to care other than the fact of it's a dream match. You can't just rest
Exactly.
on, well, it's a dream match, so you guys should care. It's like, okay, great, that only goes so far.
Give us a story. Like make something up. Be creative. This is entertainment. This is an
Yeah,
entertainment business. You're gonna have to put on your artsy fartsy creative hats and come up with something good. You have RJ City, who is
yeah,
a creative mastermind. You have other great people there, like who understand psychology, like Jake the Snake Roberts and Dean Malenko, and all these resources available to you, and people with the best interests like Dustin Rhodes that
yeah,
understand like, oh, this is a team effort, and like let's put our creative hats on to make this work. I don't know who Tony Khan is listening to, if he's listening to anyone.
yeah. He could just be
But
doing his own thing.
it's just crazy. Like it's crazy how they get it right and they get it wrong at the same time.
Yeah, literally, and what blows my mind is like I mean, we keep going back to Mariah and Tony, but it's the truth. It was probably one of, if not the best feud AEW had this year. And the
Right, and
worst
no, it
part
is,
about it
yeah.
is that it wasn't even really. At least I don't. I mean, I don't think so. But maybe I just wasn't looking on the right part of the internet wrestling community or whatever. I don't really think a lot of people considered Mariah and Tony like a dream match. Oh my god, we have to see this.
Right.
Maybe the Japanese wrestling fans maybe did. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the average AEW fan wasn't looking at Mariah and Tony being like, "Yep, that's going to be an absolute dream match. I need to see that happen, whatever. They got people to care organically because of the story. It's like, you guys know what you're doing sometimes. Why can't you just put
Mhm.
it together consistently? I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
crazy.
It's frustrating, and yet they just can't seem to get out of their own way. And the worst part is that I feel like there's more we can talk about with this question, but I think Mike has another good segue into it, so we'll come back to it with his question. But we'll move on for now. To Are we excited for Saturday night's main event? And in our opinion, what is the standout match? Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's a great card so far.
Yeah, the card looks fantastic. Not only that, it like I'm hoping, which I'm pretty sure it's gonna give us that nostalgia kick. Well, maybe for me because like I'm significantly older. Like Saturday night main event was like the first like show where my introduction, where my memory kicked in, and
Hmm.
it's like wrestling. You know, like
Yeah,
that was Saturday night main event because the thing is like my parents weren't smart enough to like look up the TV guide and flip to the page and make sure to turn it on. It just happens on a whim, and it's like
yeah,
you see the red, white, and blue ropes, and now they're gonna have Jesse Ventura on commentary,
yeah.
and like 4-year old me is freaking out.
Losing it.
Like yeah, like I like this is so cool to me, man. Like it's nostalgia's a hell of a drug, you know,
Yeah,
and you know,
yeah, it is.
like it was almost like with Vince, he understood the money in the nostalgia, but he would milk the fucking cash cow out
Yeah,
of it like
little too
crazy,
much.
a little too much. Where Triple H kind of he understands like where to lean into the nostalgia, but how you can mix in what you're doing currently
Yeah,
with the nostalgia. So I'm interested in seeing how much of the modern product did Jesse Ventura consume, where if he's going to be calling a match, you know, like how tuned in into the current product is he? That's what I'm looking forward to. As far as the matches, the fact that they turned the World Heavyweight Championship match into a triple threat with
yeah,
Damian Priest, adding Damian Priest to the mix, and the
yeah,
fact that Gunther is different because a lot of times what we're accustomed to seeing is if like there's a beef between two people that are not the champ looks at it like, go ahead and beat the shit out of each other. I don't
yeah,
care. But in this instance, like Gunther's consistently telling these dudes, stop getting in my business. I don't
yeah,
want your help. I don't need your help. If you come in here doing anything that involves me when I didn't ask you to, I'm taking your head off. It doesn't matter if it's Finn Balor,
yeah,
doesn't matter if it's Damian Priest. Like, and I appreciate that, you know,
yeah,
rather than give me the typical, well, hey, let them fight it out, whatever. I'll take advantage. Yeah, that's common, but like now you're giving me a guy that says I don't want any of this. I'm a real champion. I'm a champion for myself.
yeah, exactly. I feel like that's gonna be like I said, every match so far, which unfortunately we were talking about it earlier. We're not gonna provide any predictions because as soon as we do, they'll add one or two more matches, and
Yeah.
then everything's gonna be irrelevant anyways. However, I will make a tiny prediction for the match I'm looking forward to, which shouldn't surprise anybody, and that's the finals for the women's U.S. title. Because
Ooh.
I feel like hopefully, I mean, it sounds like it would be a win-win for pretty much everyone involved if it ends up being Meechin and Chelsea, which I think that's what it's going to end up being because I don't really think Bailey needs it, and I honestly don't even really know why they put Tiffany in this tournament. It doesn't really make sense to me at all, but hey, whatever. I guess you could have put like anybody else, but you do you, I guess. So yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe they put her in there so if Meechin hopefully inevitably beats her, then it's like, oh shit, you beat Miss Money in the Bank. That's like
Right.
a big fucking deal. So
Right.
maybe that's why, but I feel like it's gonna come down to her and Chelsea, and I feel like worst part is it's really a toss up at that point because I feel like either one of those women could win and people would be like, yeah, sure, that works, or yeah, that makes sense. I feel like the general consensus I'm seeing, I don't know about you, is that I think a lot of people want Chelsea to win,
Right. Yeah.
which Chelsea would be good, but I want Meechin to win. Like I think Meechin's shown over the last few months that she is definitely one of the most reliable performers they have. She can do pretty
Right.
much everything. She's great in the ring. you know that when she's going after you, you know it's real because again, she's one of those ride or dies where if she's I'm in her crosshairs, I'm good as dead. So, and I've honestly been a fan of hers for a while, so I really, really hope that she wins this one. But I'll be a little disappointed, but not angry if Chelsea wins. Because again, I feel like that final would be a win-win for everybody.
Right.
Because I feel like it would be slight disappointment on some side, but it would also be like a okay, yeah, I could see her winning. But that's the match I'm looking forward to. I'm just gonna say it's gonna be Chelsea and Michin in the finals, and if there's a god, Michin wins,
Mhm.
and either way, that'll be a good match.
Yeah, like I like the concept of the both the United States women's title and the women's intercontinental title because I feel like they're gonna do what you usually would expect from those titles, and that being that they're the workhorse titles, like the
Yes.
titles where like they're almost there ready for the bigger stage to be the world champions of their division, which is another aspect that I really like, the fact that it's like this is a step below the world champions, which adds more significance to Naya and Liv being the champions of their
Yeah.
division. So I really like this on all fronts to the point where I'm not even gonna complain no matter who wins. I'm gonna be
No.
happy, because I just think the idea, the concept, and the general vibe behind it is really excellent. It's good for the women to have accolades to go after. You could put different people again. This is going to help that idea of a revolving door of characters coming in and flowing into getting spots on TV. That's why
Mhm.
I'm not worried about people losing like Zelina Vega or Naomi or Michin or anything because I recognize the pattern of Triple H will find a spot
Yeah.
for you when it's the ultimate time to get you in that spot. He's not going to rush you and not throw you out there to the wolves to get you ripped apart when you're not ready. He has an impeccable eye for
Mhm.
timing in terms of when to put people out there at certain times. I mean, look at what it's doing for people like Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, yes.
You know, it was like, where's Shinsuke? Where's Shinsuke? Shinsuke's coasting. Shinsuke's coasting. All of a sudden, Triple H is like, bam, let's unveil this new evil samurai character where he's just fucking whacked out of his mind. And
Yeah.
then he comes in and he does the whole presentation, and it's like he's got the mist and he looks crazy. And again, it's all about timing and
Mhm.
timing. So it's not a situation where you're going to be sitting in catering just twiddling your thumbs like it was in the Vince McMahon era. It's just wait,
Yeah. It's
you know.
patience, and
Yeah.
not a lot of us have that, but,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like Saturday night's main event's gonna be pretty good. Not gonna complain about anything on that card. It should be really
Mhm.
good, and, yeah, I don't think we're gonna be disappointed.
I don't think so either.
Alright, and mom's last comment, is Kyle Fletcher looks unstoppable. Yeah, beating Okada will do that. Is he gonna run the gauntlet in this match
I don't know,
or
but
in this tournament? But
the craziest thing about the whole Kyle Fletcher thing is that for me as a fan watching it, and like I was on stream watching it, and as he's cheating, he cheats, he gets the win, and you're like, what the fuck? Like he
yeah.
cheated. Like like
Yeah.
as a wrestling fan who's been watching this forever, you recognize like okay, this is it is what it is. But the fan in you is like that son of a bitch cheated. Like
Uh-huh.
like not only once but twice, and then he
Yep.
cheats again against Okada, and you're upset that he cheated against Okada, but Okada's even a bigger dickhead, so you're like you don't even recognize that. You're like he cheated against Okada. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like again, it's one of those things where like AEW gets it right, AEW gets it wrong. So it's like
Yeah.
that's why when people ask me like what do I think about AEW, what do I think about WWE, I'm like I love it all because
Yeah.
I fully recognize with my adult normal brain that a company like AEW, which is only barely into going to be into its sixth year of existence,
Yeah.
is going to be able to navigate this industry and this business with perfection. They
Mhm.
are going to screw up. They're being controlled by a billionaire owner who kind of seems a little bit out of his depth.
Yeah,
Um,
just a little bit.
a little bit out of his again, Tony Khan is an internet message board kid. This
Yeah.
dude was this dude was on AOL chat rooms after WCW pay-per-views and ECW pay-per-views going, what about this? What about this? He idolized Eric Bischoff and he idolized Paul Heyman for the simple fact that they were rebels and they kind of turned the business upside down by doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do. But
Mhm.
it doesn't work for Tony Khan, especially in this era, because the one thing that those places had back then is they didn't have the internet to overexpose
Yeah.
every single thing that they were doing, you
Yeah.
know? And when you don't have that availability, you'll take whatever you get, and even if it sucks, you're like, well, it is what it is,
Mhm.
at least it's there. When you have it on the internet, every single thing is dissected, torn apart, broken down, analyzed, and shoved into a podcast just like this one. You
Yeah,
know?
like this.
Yeah, exactly, just like this. So it's like Tony Khan doesn't realize he doesn't have that luxury, so he has to be creative. He has to play chess against the audience and say, the audience thinks this is going to happen, but we're going to make this happen and it has to make sense.
Yeah.
And but the Kyle Fletcher stuff, I think, as much as it pisses me off because he's cheating
Yeah.
and his head and ear ratio
It's not
is
normal.
disproportionate on JD McDonough levels.
Yeah, oh god. Oh no.
Because on during the streams, like anytime he's on TV, like the chat and like Mike and everybody, we're just the whole time we're going, his head is so big and his ears are so small. Like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
god.
Poor
He
guy.
looks like he looks like Sid from Toy Story.
No, no, not Sid. Oh no.
Oh man.
Oh no. That's
Uh,
an if you know, you know. Like,
yeah.
Sid. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh
There you go.
god. Well, you're welcome, guys. If you that visual, if I have to deal with it, so do you guys.
There
But
you go.
ugh. All right. Well, that was all of Mom's questions and comments. So thank you as always. We appreciate it.
Mom.
Let us go on to our last six questions, and that's coming from Mike. I mean, I technically kind of already picked half of his first question already. So, our picks to be the first women's U.S. title winner and IC title winner. I don't even know why he had to ask this because he knew what I was gonna say. He knew what I was gonna say for the IC title. It's Dakota Kai or bust. Like
Dakota Guy.
that's not even like a US title. It's like, well, it'd be okay if it was like a no, it's Dakota Kai, and if anything else, they're wrong. That's just it. They're just flat out wrong if it's not Dakota Kai. But in all seriousness, I feel like she's more than earned that, and of course, I still think Nishan should win it on the US title side, but I'm just hoping. I'm just hoping. I think this is finally that I think my patience is going to be rewarded twice over, hopefully, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think unfortunately for the US title, I'm gonna have to differentiate myself from
Yeah.
you.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Chelsea Green
All
because
right.
I mean I love Meechin. We talked about how much I love Meechin and I'm trying to infiltrate my way into the Yim family.
Still working on it.
But he's still working on it. We gotta get that cloning device made. But just Chelsea, man, she gets it.
Yeah.
She gets it. So that's my pick for the US title, which is funny because she's from Canada.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
But for the Intercontinental title, I'm rooting for Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Dakota Kai because I recognize the rise in popularity, especially Monday Night Raw when she came out. You could just tell she was jazzed up because the crowd
Yeah.
was like really behind her. Like, like so it's interesting and it's like it almost kind of reminds me of a Japan-esque thing where like Damage Control is a faction, but they all have
Hmm.
their own individual thing going on, and then they'll come together and congregate as Damage Control at a later time. But like
Yeah.
they're still rocking that Damage Control banner, but they're doing their own thing right now. So
Yeah.
I like that aspect. I think Dakota Kai would be great, man. I think she's in her prime of her career.
Yes.
She has that relatability. She has that marketability. that they could put her on posters
Yes, yes, yes.
all of the promotional material. I think she'd fit in right then and there, no problem. So yeah, I'm going for Chelsea on the US title side, and on the Intercontinental side, I'm going with Dakota Kai.
There, perfect. I feel like the worst part about it is that I feel like this entire question and answer, at least on the IC title side, could have went completely different if she wouldn't have gotten the reaction she did when she came back that first night. The crowd like kind of went a little crazy for her. If you could like, obviously it was kind of hard to hear between Damage Control screaming, but you could tell that people were excited to see her again. So I'm like, is this finally happening? Is this finally happening? Because I feel like if she wouldn't have gotten a big reaction besides just online, but in the arena that night when she returned, they could have looked at that and been like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, the internet fans are happy to see her, but she's not getting any reaction out in the on the live crowds. So, should we really? But I'm glad that the live crowds are understanding the assignment and finally getting behind her because, yeah, like I said, there's no other option for the IC
Right.
title. Like, I'm sorry, like it's got to be Dakota or bust, and if not, we're not going to talk about that. So, but anyways, but no, it's definitely, at least for me, I think it's Meechin and Dakota. Obviously, we'll see who gets to brag about those predictions being right because, as usual, it comes down to one match, and we'll see who was right at the end of the day. But it
Yeah.
should be a good one either way. All right, so going over to AEW for a minute. So we talk about the whole suffocation with the plastic bag, the threat to pour the chemicals down Orange Cassidy's throat. I know some fans think AEW is walking that fine line, but do we think there's merit in some criticism that those kinds of acts of violence are off-putting to advertisers? Yeah, I think like there's at least a little bit of merit to them, and obviously you're gonna have that subsection of the crowd being like, "But well, it worked in the Attitude Era. They didn't give a shit back in the Attitude Era." Well, guess what? 99% of the shit that worked in the Attitude Era is not gonna work today. Like it's
Mhm.
just a completely different landscape, completely different like style, fan base, crowd, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So you can't use the excuse of the Attitude Era because that era's gone. Like it is dead and gone. You can use certain elements, but there's just a certain line that you just can't cross. And I do appreciate the fact that they're trying to be a little more edgy and they're trying to do these things that shock and awe you, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's hidden right. Like
Right.
I don't know of people who would just normally just pour cleaning chemicals down people's throats just for the hell of it. Like it, I don't know. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
great. I mean, and it makes them look like assholes, but I can understand why you have to be a little bit sensitive because it's more of a sensitive society. So I'm sure advertisers aren't going to appreciate seeing car crashes and
Yeah,
suffocating people with bags.
that's
And
wild. The Darby Allen car crash is
yeah,
crazy. Um, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not privy to the business side of like what advertisers stay away from
yeah,
or anything like that. But it's like, again, Tony Khan has so much money. Like,
too much money.
like this is not a thing where he's fighting for every dollar.
No,
Trying and that, remember, we talked about a while ago. We talked about maybe that's a criticism, is that he doesn't he's not fighting for a dollar, as if like we need this dollar or the company is going to go under.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like your mentality is different when you don't have to, when you're not struggling for it.
Yeah, it's that desperation's
Right.
ah, yeah, I don't know. We can appreciate the I'm not going to say the execution, the attempt maybe, execution not so much, but who's to say? Who's to say that the kind of advertisers they pull in love that shit? Who knows? But
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I can understand both sides of it though, where part of it's like, okay, cool, at least it's something new, but then it's also just like, where's it end? Like, where's the line end? Clearly,
Right.
but I don't know. I'm not to say, we're not to say, we're not that in the know, but I don't know. So, so from one mess to another, Mike said the Ray Phoenix fiasco, just leave already. Yeah, I haven't really been paying a lot of attention. It just seems to obviously just naturally pop up on my Twitter from time to time. He's not really making himself look good at all with some of this shit. Like the thing that stuck out to me was the whole, well, I needed a doctor for months and you guys just ignored me. It's like I don't think they could legally do that because you
Punk
can't.
said they did the same thing to him.
And it's so weird because I feel like you look at, oh, what's the one case that I was just talking to my mom? Oh, Mark Davis. He wasn't even signed to AEW at the time and they paid for his surgery.
Right. It's weird.
So it's like, are we playing favorites? Are they just like the people that are causing problems backstage getting like worse treatment? Which I don't. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but I also don't know how good that of an idea that would be. But
Right.
I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of like, I don't know. I could see where you look at his stuff and it's just like, dude, come on, just like give it up already. Like you look really, what's the word I'm looking for, Eric? You're just looking really,
Petty?
yes, petty. And it's just like some fans live for that shit and that pettiness, but a good majority of them are just like, okay, like
Yeah.
there's always going to be three sides to every story. One person's side, the other person's side, and the truth somewhere in the middle. So you're never going
Right.
to really know who's in the wrong here, who's in the right. Maybe they both are in the wrong. Maybe they both have a little bit of truth to them, which probably is the case. But because we've unfortunately seen Tony Khan can be very fucking petty when he wants to. So
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised, but it's also I don't know. It's so hard to say, but it's just very obvious he doesn't want to be there. So, like Mike said, when he's able to leave, just let him, and whatever happens after that happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part I don't get is like, what do you benefit from him sitting at home doing nothing and you paying him for a year?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, again, I get it. That's the part of like having an unlimited bank account.
Hmm.
Is that like you can waste money like that.
Yeah. I wish.
Um, yeah, right. Like, but it's like I get it. I get it because like honestly, I'd probably be kind of petty if I was in Ray Phoenix's shoes too. Like
Yeah.
if I'm getting ignored when I need medical attention, that's a problem. The problem
Yeah.
is too, you got to look at it from this aspect is Ray Phoenix, okay, like you said, legally you don't know if they could do that. So what does he do? He takes Tony Khan to court. However, Tony Khan is a billionaire. What happens with billionaires? They got about 12 lawyers behind them.
And they will drain
Uh,
you of money.
will drain you with money simply by making you drown in paperwork because every time they need paperwork that means it's a court appearance, and when it's a court appearance it's money you got to pay for it. So
Hmm.
like he has the money to pay for it, but you don't.
Yeah.
Ray Phoenix does it,
No.
so it's like does he really want to have to go through that and take him to court when it could just be the court of public opinion is worse off for Tony anyway in Ray Phoenix's
Yeah.
eyes, so it's just like you go with that.
It's, well, and it's also like you kind of look at it too, and it's just like the optics of it don't look great for Ray Phoenix either, because it's like, of fucking course you're gonna say this shit now because you're gonna want to look like the good guy in this situation. Of course, you're gonna want to make AEW look like they're, I mean, essentially holding you hostage, and you don't want to be here, and this is unfair, and so of course you
Right.
want the sympathy. So it's like, of course you're gonna say some inflammatory remarks because why wouldn't you? You could just not say anything, but that's your choice if you want to say something or not. But I don't know. It's just
it
doesn't sound like such a great situation.
it does. It's gonna be one of those things where it's like, here we go again with AEW.
Yeah, just another shake your head like, oh,
Yeah.
AEW. Like, yeah, I don't know. It'll be very interesting once he gets fully released to see if shit hits the fan. I feel like it will, but
Mm.
you never know. We'll probably be talking about it in a few months anyways. That's like, well, what else is new? We'll just save it for another day. Okay, so Mike's been beating the drum to take the tag belts off of JD and Finn if Finn's going to be focused still on Damian Priest. Do we have the War Raiders winning the next Raw?
Uh, I wouldn't
Well,
mind that.
I wouldn't either, and it kind of goes back to one of Mom's questions earlier. I feel like they're doing that thing again, kind of like what we talked about with Rhea and Liv and the women's title, where it's like you're kind of putting the storyline over the title, and they're clearly putting the storyline with Finn and Damien and the Judgment Day and whatever over these titles. So
Mm,
it's not good when you have two of your titles being essentially put on the back burner for the sake of a storyline that really doesn't have anything to do with the title at this point, because it's not like Damien's going after Finn and JD's titles with somebody. I mean, you can kind of say a little bit, at least the end game supposedly could be Liv and Rhea for the title, but it's not a focal point. It's just more or less the fact of we just don't like each other.
right,
So
right,
ugh, it's just. I get that at one point it was the hottest storyline you had. That's not the case anymore. I feel like
right.
everybody's just kind of expecting it to just end already, and it just never seems to end. It just keeps going. And it's not great when you're going to potentially, let's be honest, if this shit keeps going on by the time the IC title comes around, there might come a time where the IC title's more important than your world title, and that's not good. That's not good because, like you just said, it's supposed to be like a slight step down from the main title because it's the workhorse title. It's the you hate to say secondary title, but it's pretty much what it is. So the fact that that title might get more meaningful time on TV as opposed to your world champion title, not great at all.
I yeah, I agree. I agree. I think they're it's again, like no product is perfect. Even
No.
but this is a good product problem for WWE to have, you
Yeah.
know? Um it's just I wish they would get back to real tag teams holding tag team gold. So maybe that's probably why I'm like, okay, if they're gonna put it on the War Raiders, go with that. If you
Yeah.
look on the other side on SmackDown, they got a thing going now with the Motor City Machine Guns and DIY
Yeah.
and Street Profits, and it all seems like the tag teams over on SmackDown,
Well,
they're all they're all tag team, like the tag team divisions is on fire. It's working
yeah.
like a legit division. So I just think they need to implement a little bit more of that on Raw. I don't I never looked at Finn Balor as a tag team guy,
No,
you
he's always
know?
been like a lone wolf kind of guy.
Right, and I would buy into Carlito and JD McDonough more as a
Yeah.
tag team for Judgment Day more than Finn and JD. I
They
think
probably did
the
it for the like the feel good, I guess.
Right, right. The
Like,
just the connection between the Irish,
yeah.
we're from the same place.
Yeah, but even
Finn is who
then,
trained me. I
yeah,
get it why they did it, but I just
still.
feel like for like what Mike is saying, if they're gonna have Finn go after Gunther, like why have a tag team guy go after the world heavyweight champion?
Exactly. So get the titles off
Yeah,
them
yeah.
sooner
I
rather
would
than
put it.
later.
I'd put it on War Raiders. Why the hell not?
Yeah, and I mean, if you really just want to like make sure the storyline gets driven home, have Damien cost them the titles.
There you go.
Like that's not hard, and I mean that's really not that hard to think about because God, Finn's cost him the title twice now, so I'd say turnabout's fair play.
Yeah, there you go.
Have Damien screw him over like
W-
that.
Works for me.
All right, perfect. It's settled then. That's what happening. That's what happening next
That's
week.
what's going down.
We just gave you a spoiler, guys. You're
There
welcome. Alrighty. So we did talk about this earlier. How about that heat the New Day got on Raw? That was Pete, Dom, and Don Callis combined. Yeah.
Oof.
Like I said, I was waiting for someone to jump the railing because it was getting pretty damn close. I was getting nervous for them, but
Yeah,
they
like
deserved it.
they wholeheartedly deserved it.
Bunch of jerks. Just a bunch of jerks.
Horrible people, just horrible. Like I
All
you know what? I kind Xavier Woods, I kind of can see it in him now, you know?
yeah, now you're seeing it.
I'm seeing it. I'm
Yeah.
seeing it.
See, so it's working, but it's also like we still hate you.
Yeah.
Don't go near Biggie anymore. Leave him alone. He's done
Leave him alone.
enough. Leave him
Yeah,
alone.
he'll be all right. He'll be all right. He's gonna
He's
come
good.
back.
Oh, I'm hoping. God, I'm hoping.
He's
Like,
gonna
it
come
would
back.
be a shame for all of this to happen for it not to end up paying off at some point, but I don't know. But either way, it's hurts my heart. Poor Biggie.
Hmm.
Poor guy. All right. So when I saw this question, this is Mike's last question. This was going to be a fun one. So Vince McMahon has proven to probably be wrestling's biggest monster between the whole Grant accusations, the whole Ring Boy stories, and then some. But who would we pick to round out the top five terrible people in wrestling? So we need to pick four other people. I mean, we could do more than that, but
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just hard because it's like there's
there's
so
too many.
many. Yeah, there's too many to the point where you're like, after we're done recording this, we're gonna be like, damn, we
We'll think
forgot
of
to
more.
we
Yeah.
forgot to mention this person and this
Yeah.
person. Um,
Hmm. Hulk Hogan for one.
Hulk Hogan won. What, he was a diva, obviously now we know he's a racist,
Racing.
so that's cool.
Yeah.
Dynamite Kid was a horrible,
Yeah.
horrible human being. Uh,
Snuka.
Snuka was pretty bad.
Fabulous
What?
Bola.
Oh my God, there's one there. One that came to
Yeah.
mind that I had a couple. Bill Watts
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Bill Watts was a notorious racist. No matter
Yes.
how much he loved the Junkyard Dog, he only loved the Junkyard Dog because the Junkyard
Money.
Dog made him money.
Yeah.
And then there's also Grizzly Smith, the father
Mm.
of Jake the Snake
Oh.
Roberts,
Ugh.
was a notorious pedophile.
Yeah.
Just a horrible, horrible human being, which we wish nothing but harm to in the afterlife. Wherever you are, you son of a bitch, I'm hoping that you're
Yeah.
burning.
Yeah.
But
Taker and Kane more recently.
they're
Or
more like they're just like shitty, like everybody's got shitty opinions, like they're just
yeah.
like I'm just like like my background is like I'd expect that from them, like, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, like, yeah, but if you
it's
list Hogan, you kind of have to throw those two in there too, because they
right,
all
no,
kind of
yeah,
run in the
oh,
same circle.
yeah, they
But
all run in, yeah, but to me, they're just like curmudgeonal men. Like, I would be
they're
shocked.
dumb.
Let me tell you, I would be shocked if they came out and they were like bleeding heart liberals, free
Yeah.
healthcare for everybody. I would be like,
Yes.
wait a second, what twilight zone am I living in? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like,
It's just that it's just that hard thing of you love Undertaker when you're younger because of the mystique and the character and whatever, and then you grow up to find out that I'm not going into it, but
brother, my introduction to pro wrestling was Hulk Hogan
yeah, so you get
and the
it.
Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, he also wasn't the best.
He
Oh no,
was not
no,
he's not
also
good.
no, fuck the Ultimate Warrior too. Like he's a piece of shit too. So
Yeah,
it's
he's not
like
good. He's not
no,
good.
like
No, you're
ugh,
not good. That was my introduction, so trust me. I
God,
get it. I get
it's
To me, there's so many
it's too
horrible
many.
people that it's like there's a hierarchy of like what is comparable
We can make
in
a
the
whole
horror.
S ranking of this
Yeah,
stuff. Like
yeah, like, well, I mean, you could throw Chris Jericho in there,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
like, like it's just like oftentimes with wrestling, if you're deep into this shit, you'll hear who isn't a horrible person. It's one of those
yeah,
things where like when there's actual good people in wrestling, people like Sami Zayn,
yeah,
people like
yeah.
Kevin Owens,
Mhm.
Big E, Titus
Mm.
O'Neil, you
Dakota,
know,
honestly,
Dakota, good people, good hearted people
yeah,
that it's almost like that's the first quality you bring up, is that nobody could say a bad thing about them,
yeah,
because it's so common for a wrestler to turn out to be a piece of shit,
yeah.
so
Well,
like it's crazy.
yeah, no, I mean, the worst part is, though, is that for a certain period of time, you could have put Shawn Michaels on this list too, because
Yeah, oh
he wasn't
yeah.
great either.
Shawn
Like,
Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty,
yeah,
like wrestling is one of those things that really tries the antidote of everyone deserves a second chance. It
yeah,
like
yeah.
really tests the waters when it comes to that.
All you
You
have to do is just
know,
watch Dark Side of the Ring, and that's pretty much all you need to know. Like,
that's it. That's
Ugh.
it right then and there. Dark Side of the Ring will tell you the whole story. I enjoyed Dark Side of the Ring. It's
Yeah,
one
it's a
of those
great show, but
it's one of
ugh.
those things like you know what to expect. It's the same shit, the
Yeah.
same format, the same style. They're not bringing anything to the table, but they're not stupid. They know we wrestling fans are going to tune in regardless because we
Yeah.
like petty drama
Yeah.
and messiness and all that stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We
It's
do. We
just
do. We got to
we
be honest with ourselves.
yeah. That's why I'm just glad most of them as far as I know, obviously, sometimes you just love the blissful ignorance, but it's like, I'm glad that most, I would assume, of my favorites are all unproblematic people, so hopefully that's the
I,
case.
I mean,
Hopefully. I
I'm
love Dakota, so Dakota's like, not
no,
problematic,
no.
so
Like if you're a good judge of character, you could tell. But
you would like to think, like
it's just like, man, humans are so flawed. You know, like it's just like
yeah, that
you got to be careful. You got to be,
yeah.
especially when you idolize these people because when
Yeah.
they let you down,
Uh,
it's soul crushing.
it's like you've been betrayed.
Very much so.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely get it with Hogan and
Mm-mm.
the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even really say, yo, yeah, I felt that way about the Undertaker. I wasn't like crushed when I discovered that he did not like that certain side of the political spectrum because I liked him, but I was never like, oh my god, he's my favorite. So it still sucked, but I don't feel as crushed as some people probably did, and I feel bad for them. But
Yes.
unfortunately, sometimes that's just how people are.
You gotta watch it with this celebrity idolization and worship. It's a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, it really is, and hell, we could probably have a whole podcast episode about that.
Probably, you're right.
Yeah, we could open up a whole can of worms on that one, but we won't. We will spare you guys that for now. But that is all of the questions we have for this week.
Awesome. I love it. I love these like this is not necessarily a bite-sized episode, but
Yeah.
it's very easily digestible, you know.
Yes.
It's got to be daunting. I mean, maybe for the people that sit, are working and then they have us in their ear, it's a nice little escape, but like
Yeah.
for other people it's just like who just sit and do nothing like to have us in their ear for like 2-3 hours would be insane.
Yeah, it's trying because sometimes I do have those episodes of like podcasts I listen to where I see it and it's like over 2 hours long, and I'm like, oh, thank God I'm stuck on my computer for that long, so it
Yeah.
makes it fly by. But yeah, I do like these little episodes where people could listen to multiple at a time if they so chose, and if they
For
didn't, then that's fine. So
Most definitely, most definitely. Well, just to let you guys know, the Ringside Rundown podcast is available all across the board on any podcast platform that you use to listen to your podcast. If not, all you got to do is hit us up on social media. We're available on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the handle at Ringside Rundown. And you can let us know, shoot us a DM, say, hey, I use this platform here. The podcast is not on there. I'll look into it, and if I can get you a link, excuse me, if I can get you a link, I'll send it to you on a silver platter. The caveat is you have to give us back the silver platter because we only have one, and it's very expensive.
one of one, we can't lose it. We need
We need it because it belongs to Shay's mom, and she's
it.
very protective of her stuff, and we do not want to anger her, so we want to make sure she gets her silver platter back. But we'll get you a link to the podcast, and if you can't find it on your podcast platform, it is available on YouTube. All of the episodes are available, including highlights for certain episodes, and all of the short form content is available if you go to youtube.com/at ringside run pod. It is available on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is very, very close to 1,000 subscribers.
Damn.
So we're pushing to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully, we can get to there by the end of 2024. That is the goal. But there, you can listen to full episodes of the podcast if you can't find it on your platform of choice. Like I said, we're available Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Ringside Rundown. We're also available on TikTok where you can get all the short form content from our stream highlights, and that is at ringside underscore Rundown. Again, I said we do streaming. That's right. For all WWE and AEW TV programming and WWE PLEs, I am doing live reactions on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ringside rundown is where I do live reactions for all wrestling programming. And this week, this Thursday coming up, I'm actually doing a game stream, Shay.
Ah,
I'm doing a game.
gaming.
I'm gonna do some horrible gaming where I try to branch out, because what I'm realizing is that there are a lot of people that are out there that are really into wrestling, but don't
Mhm.
really make it known. They might
Yeah.
be a little,
Sneaky.
little bit sneaky. They want to keep that a little bit private. But
Yeah.
once you get them talking about some wrestling, then you find out they really love Rhea Ripley, and
Yeah.
that's how they found it and all this stuff. So I'm gonna try to see if the gaming, if I can branch
Get the
out,
gamers.
yeah, get the gamers in and say, hey, come watch this wrestling with us. So that's what we're doing on Twitch, along with all of the live reactions to all WWE and AEW programming. Again, that's twitch.tv/ringside rundown. If you want to talk to me individually about professional wrestling, you can find me on Twitter at Erik ringside underscore. That's Erik ERIK ringside underscore. Shay, where can I get in touch with you?
Can find me on Twitter at ShayleneHickson21. Talking about all the things. My sports teams are doing, yeah, pretty good for the most part. It seems like all of my favorite bands are going on tour right now, so that's gonna hit my hit my bank account a little hard. But probably screaming about that. But yeah, and just talking an absolute fool about God knows what.
We need those Steelers to go all the way and make sure that the Eagles don't get a championship.
I need to. I will not accept if we lose that game next week. I do not want to see us lose to anything Philadelphia.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I'm looking long term. I'm looking at
yeah.
the end of the year Super Bowl wise. You guys are in good shape. Obviously, Kansas City's always in good shape.
Are they?
Um,
Are they though? Like they
I
shouldn't be.
mean,
Let's be honest. They shouldn't be 12-1. Let's be honest. I'm sorry
they
to any like
shouldn't.
Chiefs fans. They shouldn't be.
they
I'm sorry.
they shouldn't, but they are. You know,
Somehow, but
they are, but they shouldn't be. But here, the thing is, I'm worried about, because I live in Philly country,
ugh,
so like
I'm sorry.
yeah, I hate it. It's the
I bet.
worst.
I bet.
It's the fucking worst. Let me tell you, it's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, it wouldn't be great. Like,
It's not fun. It's not
yeah.
fun because these assholes are a different breed out here. They are a different breed, and not good. Not good. It's not something to be idolized or anything like that. These guys are different. So for me, any sort of misery that can come their way, like the Steelers beating them in the Super Bowl down the line or something like that, when they're on,
Well,
because you got to admit they're playing great. You know,
yeah, they
they're
are.
playing great. Saquon's probably going to be the MVP. That hurts me as
Yeah.
a
Oh
Giants
yes.
fan.
Oh
As a
yes.
Giants fan,
Ugh.
that hurts.
Oh, I can imagine,
It
dude.
hurts. It's
Oh,
pain.
I can
It
imagine. I
it
mean, we're
it's
gonna do our best for you. We're gonna
please,
try.
please.
I mean,
I love Mike Tomlin. I think he's great. I think
yeah.
he's fantastic. I don't know if you saw that thing I posted in the Discord about that girl saying that they should fire Mike
Oh, don't
Tomlin.
even get me
I
started. It's just like, don't
I
let her back into the stadium.
I was
Like,
like, "Oh, she's great. This must be Shay's mortal enemy."
it's like
Like,
I love the fair weather fans. It's great, but I don't know. I mean, everyone seems to want that, like Detroit and Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl, which I mean that would be
that would be
entertaining,
okay,
but
I guess. I don't know.
at least not Philly.
Not Philly, nothing
We're
Philly.
gonna do our
Anyway,
best. We got to do our best. We'll do our best.
we'll think about maybe doing a sports podcast to go off for the
Yeah,
ringside rundown.
maybe just a one-off. Who
Yeah,
knows?
right. Maybe we'll do that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to the show. Please, if you have some friends that are into wrestling and wrestling podcasts, please let them know that the Ringside Rundown exists. Let them know what it's all about. Give them an episode to listen to, and hopefully they become friends with us and hang out with us on things like the Twitch. And I forgot to mention that we also multi-stream on YouTube. So if you can't follow us on Twitch, you can also follow us when we stream and do the same thing on YouTube. It's the same fucking stream. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Technology is wild.
technology.
Yeah, it's wild, but it's also available on YouTube now. I forgot that I do that. Now we're doing a thing where we're doing predictions on the stream for each match, where people can gamble their channel points on
Oh,
Twitch. So like I have a bunch of degenerate gamblers like the APA in
dude,
my stream
literally.
now. Like, you know, and then the cool thing about what we do, like I said, and it's the reason why I want to branch out and try to reach the gamers, is because doing the streaming thing, you because it's heavily based upon networking and trying to meet other content creators. You meet people that are not into wrestling, that just kind of want to support and see what you're all about, that become wrestling fans. We have a lot of people that simply because they saw what I was doing on Twitch, they're starting to get into the wrestling. So now they're like gambling channel points on who's going to win matches.
Yeah.
They're having debates back and forth. They're rooting for people. And I think to me, the coolest part is the fact that we could bring in people that are not necessarily diehard wrestling fans like us and show them the magic that is pro wrestling through the Ringside Rundown.
Through gambling.
They're through gambling. There you go. There you have it. Oh man. On that note, I think it's time for us to get out of here. For
Yeah.
Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.
See you later, guys.